And so there's a lot of levels to this question, I think. And I think for me, I come from like the school of Tabo, and there's such a micro control and real perfectionist quality that both I have and he has. And so for me, I kind of started from that real grinding down and sanding and really refining the movement. And then, that is one aspect of it. And I think that's really good and important for beginners to practice basics, to practice technique, to practice really ingraining the movement into their muscle memory. And for me, it's like upgrading your circuitry of your anatomy, right? And so I think there's different levels of practice at each stage of your evolution. And but a lot of parts are not just the physical practice where you grind day in and day out and you upgrade your physical capacities, but that doesn't necessarily equal, a good dancer or a good artist, right? It's not purely physical. So there was a couple experiences that like really helped me, like two quotes I could give you, right? From one is from my big brother Stakos and Pop and Jay. And so I was in China for 4 months, and I was training as hard as I could. And like I was teaching 2.5-hour classes a day. I was going to like Stakos class. I was practicing before and after. And then I was getting ready for this event called Old School Night in Osaka, Japan. And he said, the way you're practicing, like the way you're practicing is like you're admitting you don't have it. And for me, that was like, it was really eye-opening to me, because I always just practice and push and push and push. And it wasn't like Stakos was telling me that practice was bad, right? Because he's a practitioner as well. But the way that I was practicing, it's almost like he saw that I was chasing a carrot I could never get to. And that carrot was my own security, my confidence. And I wasn't going to reach it by practicing more. Because the practice was always like an admittance. Like I was admitting that I wasn't enough. And so it made me really think about it for many years after, right? Because I always loved to practice physically. So I think at that point, I continued on my journey. Many years later, I meet Pop and Jay again, and he's in LA. And I was asking him, I said, man, like you're one of the most consistent people I've seen around the world kill it at every showcase. It never seems like he's off. I said, how do you do it, man? Like when I travel, it's hard. It's every situation is different, and it's hard to adapt. And he goes, I said, what's your practice like? How do you practice? And he goes, now my practice is not as much physical as it was when I was starting. It's now about nurturing my love for the dance. It wasn't just nurturing his love for the dance. He said, it's about nurturing my love for the music. And that to me was like, oh my God, another like real light bulb went off. And I was just like, man, there's the physical component, there's the mental, emotional component. There's so much to dance. There's so much to art that is beyond the physical capacity of your body. It's about nurturing your love for the music, and it's about finding your physical capacity and your ability to navigate all this internal world that's being pushed and pulled by opinions and all this the nature of art and its subjectivity, to navigate that world is so difficult, because as humans, we all want to grasp on to something our ego can hold, something that's concrete, that we know we're going down the right path. I put in all this effort. I put in practice day in and day out. You know, I suffered through failures. I've got publicly humiliated in battles or whatever. I like put myself out there. I was vulnerable, and I never got, reinforced. I never got something I could be like, okay, I got something I can show for it, And that's hard. That's super hard. But it's not about that. It's not about achieving money. It's not about achieving accolades. For me, it's about the personal practice, the navigating of my evolution as a human, right? And that's what I think the power of dance is. So it's the thing you could walk through life with, that you mature with, that you can go to a space where you can kind of navigate all of life's struggles and stresses. So how much is enough practice? I think it's a real individual question to find out, to find out what it is that makes you tick, how do I stay inspired? How do I stay motivated? For me, it's always about, if I can find out how I feel fascinated, how can I find fascination? Then there will never be a question of how much I can sustain physically. If I can always be curious, if I can always find a way to fascination, I will always have the ability to physically overcome or grow. So for me, it's not only becoming a really good physical specimen of movement, but also nurturing the mental, emotional component that just makes you a better overall human being, a happy, authentic, complete picture of life, and enjoy it while you're here. It's not so much about who's better than who, or who won this and that. Is this craft really helping you in life? And for me, it has. So anyways.